Hello Internet, it's the conspiracy connoisseur, FPS Diesel here. So you guys know me, I love conspiracy content. Not Shane Dawson's conspiracy content, I like going deep. I like doing a deep dive, right? But here's the thing. Apparently that content is going to be taken out of recommended, which again would affect my boy Shane along with the rest of other horror and internet phenomena channels, and also skeptics to an extent. Now the reason for this is that YouTube is afraid this content is going to make people believe in the idea that the earth is flat or vaccines cause autism or other things. There's also a political part of this as well, and I'm going to get into all of that as I get into this, but I want to talk about this first because obviously I do have a monetary interest in this, right? There are a few videos on my channel that are about flat earth. Some of them have been demonetized, not even for the context of the video, but for the subject of the video itself. One video, I taught people about religion and why certain things were one way and not the other, and that video got demonetized and labeled as being conspiracy content, even though I was making fun of someone who is a conspirator. But the point of the matter here is that I like that stuff being on the internet, not because people will believe it, but because it allows me to phrase a lesson or something educational in a way that is funny. If you guys notice, when I do videos like that, they're really education, but comedy at the same time. You know, there's a free and open dialogue, and if you guys know me, that's part of why I love the internet, is that free and openness in the dialogue. It allows stupid people to say stupid things, and me, being a big brain smart boy, to say smart things back. For example, this guy who gives dating advice said that anal sex would turn you gay.
I officially declare myself a boob man. I am now all about the boobs, because being a butt man is just the gateway to homosexual activity.
So either that's a video of him coming out, or he is just absolutely horrified at the idea of enjoying a good booty. But I'm pretty sure I can tell you this, guys. If you're a man in the audience and you are experienced with that, do you suddenly want a man to fucking peg you in the ass? No, I didn't think so. Unless you roll that way. I don't know. It's 2019. I can't see why that would happen like that. How does that work? But the point of the matter here is that I'm allowed to have that dialogue. I'm allowed to say that he's stupid. That's my right. I'm allowed to do that, right? And it's one of the reasons that I defended Alex Jones and didn't want him banned from every platform, right? It's because when you sandbox these people, when you take them off of their platform, right? They're not just a crazy person yelling on a soapbox now. You have legitimized all of their fears and their conspiracies by saying, oh, we can't have anybody looking at this. And don't get me wrong, I think what Alex Jones said about things like the Sandy Hook shooting and a lot of his other opinions are really fucking stupid. That's not what I'm defending. I'm defending his right to say it. But by taking him off all of those platforms, you have, like, legitimized his dumb opinions. You realize that, right? People are going to be more inclined to believe him because he was right about all those tech companies that were censoring the masses. It doesn't matter if he said that previously or not, just that he can now make that narrative and people would believe him. By the way, have you ever listened to InfoWars? It's like NPR for people with tinfoil hats. But he needs his platform, so that way I can sit here and make jokes about how he said the chemicals were turning the frogs gay. And I mean, ironically, it turns out he actually wasn't totally wrong about that one, so you know, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Obviously, with what happened to Alex Jones, the same goes for all conspiracy content on the internet, right? All these conspiracies are intertwined in a certain community of people who all believe in conspiracies anyway. So when you take flat earth content and say it's not going to get shown to people anymore, that's flat earthers going, oh man, turns out we're on to something. We're right. Turns out the government, the companies, they don't want us to say the truth. We're saying the truth. You know, this is how you can tell we're right, because they're taking away our ability to speak about it. And you know, I was looking around and there was a bunch of articles about how YouTube was radicalizing people by sites like BuzzFeed, right? And by the way, it was nearly impossible to find the original study because BuzzFeed, I actually got the BuzzFeed from the Daily Beast to BuzzFeed, BuzzFeed to Wall Street Journal, Wall Street Journal to New York Times. And guys, maybe instead of referencing other opinion pieces, you can reference the actual study, you lazy, lazy people. Anyway, according to the article, it was pushing people to believe things from far-right extremists like Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson. Now, any of you have been around in the politics sphere for a while, and it definitely since 2016, I can say without a doubt that Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson do not exhibit what I would typically label as far-right. But that's not the point. Anyway, the point of the matter is that they are touting this media studies theory that basically says that videos or anything that someone consumes will encourage them to believe in a certain opinion. I don't think this is true to its full extent, and I think it kind of depends on who is talking, right? And I think it matters even less with things like games and movies that are both entertainment and trying to have like a message. I think where influencers are, like myself, and as much as I hate the word, we're in a position to influence people's opinions. And I've done this on purpose to see if it works. And it does, but the more extreme an idea is, the less likely it is to be palatable to an audience for them to believe it. And on top of that, I would also like to make people aware that consumers are much more socially aware of the content they are consuming now, more so than ever. You know, I know a lot of my audience tends to be on the younger side, but they're very aware of the current political sphere, and whether or not they agree with me or not is not the case, but rather that they're willing, one, to have the dialogue, and two, can defend their own opinions. And then, even more so than that, conspiracy content isn't made to convince people, it's made for people that are already convinced. If you sit down and watch a 5-hour documentary on Flat Earth, you probably believed in Flat Earth going into that. And this is the same for pretty much all documentaries that aren't done by people who are professionals in the field. Point of the matter is that people going into those documentaries or into those videos believe in what they're watching already. There is a certain demographic of people that are drawn to conspiracy content in videos, and I have been looking at it long enough to narrow down certain characteristics that make up people who believe in flat earth or anti-vax. There's characteristics of those communities. You know, usually a common like feature of these communities is that the person giving the conspiracy feels powerless to the government that they are, you know, trying to say they have the one and up on. You know, they want to have that sense of power. It's something I've talked about before in my videos, you know, where these people lack that ability and they want to have that, which is why they believe in these conspiracy theories, because they want to have some control over the chaos of society. There's also other things, usually they tend to be working class, and they also tend to be a little bit on, like, the less well-off side. Obviously, education plays a big role in this, but I have seen very educated people that believe in conspiracies as well. Usually they're just crazy. Dan Aykroyd, I'm looking at you. You know, I don't think those ideas are really going to radicalize as many people as the media seems to make you believe. It's niche content for a niche audience, and I don't think Flat Earth movement is going to become a mainstream thing just because YouTube videos end up in the recommended. Look, my personal business opinion is you should be able to filter from debunking content to conspiracy content. My content shouldn't suffer because some Jimmy Bumblefuck decided to do a 5-hour video about how the earth is flat. Because obviously I don't believe the earth is flat. And then if you sandbox the content, you're gonna make people believe that that content is actually telling the truth. That's just what I've seen from past times where this happens. And next, the idea that media outlets somehow have this one and up and understand the algorithm or how YouTube works or how people works is really annoying because they're not qualified in the slightest. You know, labeling YouTube a radicalizer is such like a non-word, you know, because I could throw that label on my channel, I could throw that label on any channel regardless of how benign it is. I could throw that on literally any one of these news sites because they have an agenda. Everyone has an agenda. That's impossible to get away from. I have ideas I want to bestow on my audience. As I get to the end of this video, these are the main points that I am reiterating at the end, so that way you believe what I'm saying, or at least are more convinced or more likely to believe me, because I'm phrasing an argument. I just think the whole idea of saying, oh, radicalizer is just not a good word, because it's not YouTube doing the radicalizing either. And like, you guys could come up with conspiracy theories just as much as any of these other people could. And lastly, and again, this happened with the Discord thing, but I'll also put it in here, I guess, for my opinion, is that, you know, people say blank is a private company, they can do whatever they want. And I, you know, as a libertarian, that's a very libertarian stance to hold, and I get that, and I understand that. But as we move into such a technologically based society, I don't know if it's really appropriate to put that same kind of faith in Twitter or YouTube or Facebook. I get that government censorship is really bad, but companies are powerful enough that they could censor or deplatform someone just as much as the government could put someone behind bars. You know, we shouldn't allow companies to censor us, but say the government can't censor us. Like, I just find that to be very strange of a opinion that people seem to have. It's like, it's a different demon with the same curse, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of my whole opinion on that. You know, I'm free speech first, and free market second. And also, there isn't anything wrong with holding a platform or item or business I use accountable for what they do. I want them to function well because I use them. This was obviously just a little short ranty video because I need to get my opinion out there about the Discord stuff and all that other stuff. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at FPSDiesel, on Instagram at FPSDiesel. And what do you think about YouTube deciding to censor content, right? Or sandbox content? Do you think they're allowed to? Should they just be able to? Is my opinion wrong? What's really your stake on it? And as for Alex Jones, do you think people would believe him as much as they do now, or less so, or do you think he's still relevant in today's society? Tell me all of your hot takes. And also, the gay butt sex guy, turns out he gives people dating advice. Don't know if I said that. So what do you think of that? I'd love to hear everybody's opinions on that. Anyway, I got a long video to work on. So I hope you guys have a good day. This was just, you know, something a little something. Anyway, I'm gonna go be an angry boomer somewhere else now.